Okay. We left off on Mem Daled, page 109. Titora de Tefillin. Hainu she'osim or lemato lechasus pi abatim. You insert the parchments from below, so you have a flap of leather underneath, which covers the bottom of the bias, the opening, it's the mouth where you insert the parchment. Nira came daf shel gesher anikra titura. It's like a plank of a bridge, which is called titura. Mabarto, the tefillin, halochim yusinai. The mabarto, the word over. In the back of the tefillin, which where you insert the strap, where the strap goes through, that's also halochim shubsinai. Dainu shiur, dainu she'ora tituri oruch mitzad echod, v'yasebo hamaberto. Right? We're talking about the base. On the bottom, it protrudes back, so it's longer in the back, because that's where the strap goes through. So we say the leather that you use for the titura should be longer on one side, the yasva maberta. And that side is where you have the maberta, that's where the strap goes through in the back. Ketzad, yachtecheno mishnei tzodim. It's cut on the sides where the strap goes through. Mean the back where the strap goes through, it's like indented over there, because we're speaking about the titura has to also maintain its squareness. It's square. So if, let's say, it would go back, it wouldn't be cut where the strap goes in. You don't see it just continues till the back. But since it's cut there, it's indented there. It's indented at that point straight, so that creates the square. It's an exact square. And that's where you insert the strap, and behind that, that's the leather, although it's one piece of leather. So the squareness of the titura, the base, should be recognizable. Through that protrusion, which is in the back, that's where the strap passes through. That's what's called maberta, like over, pass through. That's the pass through, the back part. Also, you do the same. Tefillin shel yad, like tefillin shel rosh. Yigalgel kol parsha misof l'tchiloso. When you roll the parchment, you roll from the end of the parsha. Yigalgel kol parsha misof l'tchiloso, from the end to the beginning. You start rolling from the end to the beginning. So what wraps over the outer part of the parchment is the beginning of that particular parsha. That's a shema. So you wrap the end of the sentence, you roll towards the beginning of the sentence. Okay? V'korchem b'klaf koton. And then you wrap that in another piece of parchment. You roll them, then you wrap a piece of parchment. Blank parchment. V'yesh magpil l'korchon elo b'klaf kosher. He says people are makbid that you use the parchment that's used to wrap them should be the same quality, kashrus-wise, as you write the tefillin on. Not just any piece of cloth. Meaning if it has to be, let's say it has to be processed for tefillin. Right? That's a prerequisite. Otherwise the cloth is not valid. So the cloth that you wrap, we're not talking about to use it for non-kosher species. We're not talking about that. Even some kosher species, it has to be processed for the sake of tefillin, with the right intent. So therefore it should be wrapped with that quality parchment, kashrus-wise, halachic-wise, and then you wrap, you take a hair of either a kosher species, domesticated, undomesticated, and you wrap it around that parchment with the parchment wrapped in this outer piece of parchment. He says, but the minig is, Ramos says, to wrap it on the parsha itself, not on the outer part of the cloth. It's not on the wrapping of the cloth, but on the parsha itself. Twice. First you roll it, you tie a hair of either the domesticated or undomesticated kosher species, put the cloth, the kosher parchment on the outer part, then wrap another hair around the outer parchment, which is wrapped around the parsha itself.
So
Both shel yad and shel rosh.
so there's two.
Two hairs, according to Ramo.
No, but there's a covering to the
This to the parchment,
parchment,
to the parsha.
the parsha, and so it's wrapped in another.
When we wrap our mezuzah, in the mezuzah case, we use saran wrap, or years ago they used wax paper.
Right,
So that's irrelevant.
right.
But this is halacha mishum Sinai. It has to be wrapped
But not in a cloth,
in a cloth. It has to be, and some a kosher cloth.
a kosher cloth.
We're not talking about the species. Kosher means that it's cloth that's kosher enough that you could have written on that parchment. And it's full wrapped. It's fully wrapped. Fully wrapped.
We don't have the same halacha on mezuzah though.
No, they're specifically tefillin. Right. Mezuzah doesn't have to be wrapped at all. You just put the mezuzah straight out, roll, and just put it on.
Right.
We put in double wrapping for a reason.
Right, to keep it,
No, because let's say it's in your bedroom. You're not permitted to cohabit in presence of a mezuzah. But if it's a double covering, right, you have the saran wrap or whatever you have inside the case, and you have the case. It's a double wrapping.
But it was supposed to be on the doorpost of every room. Why would we think that we weren't supposed to cover it in our bedroom?
I understand.
We could go outside the room.
Well, let's say you act disrespectfully in the presence of the mezuzah.
Yeah.
Let's say you do some disrespectful type of behavior,
Right.
right? And you have mezuzah. It's not respectful. But if you put it in double covering, it's irrelevant what goes on outside of it, because it's in its own it's in its own context, so to say. If it's double wrapped, it's like you could take a sefer into an unclean location if it's double wrapped. It's called kiss b'silk kiss.
What is this double wrapping concept?
It's a gemara. It's a gemara.
Is it halacha l'moshe similar? What is it? You would think that one covering would be enough, just logically.
No, because the covering is associated with what you're covering. So now you're covering the covering. You understand? That's the concept of a double covering. You carry something in a bag. Let's see the cover on a that's bound to the book. That's not called the covering. That is the sefer itself. That's the book itself. Okay. Let's say you have a cover on a cover of a book. It becomes worn. You can throw it away. Right. I mean, throw away. It's supposed to be respectfully, but the cover that's bound to the book, that's shameless. That's no different than the sefer itself. That has to be buried, because that's bound to the book itself. Wait, so if you have a sefer or tefillin and you have it in a bag, this bag is carrying the tefillin. If you have an outer bag, it's the bag that's carrying the tefillin. So that's contained in a whole different environment.
I mean, I was not convinced.
The Gemara.
of the book cover.
No, they said just the opposite. Which book cover? The regular book cover
Yeah,
or the
regular
book
book
that's
cover.
bound?
The book that's bound.
No, so
That's part of the book.
that's the book.
That
No,
is the book.
no, I'm explaining to you. You need a double covering besides the cover of the book.
Well, I understand that because I'm not differentiating between the book
And its cover.
and its cover. If I put a book in a paper bag, why would I need another paper bag?
So I'm explaining to you because this paper bag is containing the book. Right?
I understand. It's not
It's-
such a simple concept.
No, it's not based on psukim. Not based on psukim.
So, double wrapping on something to keep it kosher to make sure that it's the same reason.
By the tefillin?
No. When you go in a restaurant, you get a packaged meal.
No. You don't have to have double wrapping. You have to have something that you can't falsify. Doesn't have to be, because that's the way it's done, to guarantee it wasn't. But if, let's say you have a seal, one seal, and the seal cannot be falsified. You only need one covering. You only need one.
You pick a single wrap thing in something a tray bottom.
You could, as long as it's not pierced. We play it. We put double because in case it leaks, you have the inner one which insulates it. That's why you have a double wrap.
But even a single wrap
Would be enough.
to go into a tray bottom.
I'll tell you. You see, you have to take certain precautions. The halacha is if there's any wetness on the outside, it will actually, and there's something on the inside, which also is liquid, it would penetrate.
One wrap.
So you have a double wrap. In case it penetrates, you have something on the inside to protect it.
For a complete solid, because it only needs one. If there's liquid inside, or like a grater or something, it needs two.
Not on the inside. The concern is something on the outside make
Okay.
that's the problem. So by having a double wrap, you're playing it safe.
The wrapping has to be something that's imperfect. It can't be just
So
it's absorbent.
No, absorbent doesn't make a difference. There's no liquid. It doesn't make a difference if it's absorbent. So, silver foil, right. Okay. V'nogu she'yasev she'legel. Although it says you can use the hair of any kosher species, domesticated, but the minig is use the hair of a egel, of a calf. L'motza shel egel, korech b'shel poro, o shashor. It should be domestic. It should be of a cow or an ox. V'rochetz aser heitu b'tchilo ad she'inoki. The hair has to be washed well before you wrap it, that it's totally clean. Ksas seir zet tzorch she'iroya chutz lebatim. This hair should actually protrude. If you ever take a look at the stitching, in front of the bias, you have little hairs coming out. Okay? It should protrude outside of the bias after it's sewn closed. This is mechaber. It's in Mishna Berura. Sheyosim Va'afilu das hasorvent habotim tzrichim lios kulo mi'or echod mamush. We had it earlier. The bayit itself, the opinions say it has to be made of one piece of leather. Mikol mokom lobina shi hatitura maberto imabatim. But the base, where you insert the bias, doesn't have to be of the same piece of leather. Kol lobina shi hatitura v'maberto imabatim me'or echod. El afilu or b'fnei atzmo kosher. So shkosa mechabesh yosim, you should put it in komokim in be'efshori tov lader bozeh. The way we have the tefillin, it's all made of one piece of leather. Not only the bias, but even the base and what extends, it's all one piece of leather. Lotzis das machmir mezeh v'ayin beralocha. Okay, ye oruch v'nifsko mutal tofro. If it's severed, you could sew it. Shein nikor. Just as the bias has to be square, the base has to be square also. That so the strap goes in, you cut it, and that identifies the squareness of the base of the bias. The you wrap it similar to the mezuzah. When you wrap it, Shema Yisrael Shem HaKadosh Echad. So you wrap it from the end of the sentence towards the beginning of the sentence. So Shema wraps around the outer part. V'lo lehepech mitav shitzbor b'yordei sim reish peiches. V'korchom rotzil mechatchila avon lo korchom kosh b'diavad im ein lo achirim. You hear this? V'ayim machsher b'yer alocha. What happens? You didn't wrap it in the cloth. It's valid. B'diavad it's valid. L'kalaf koton v'adim b'chatichas beged im ein lo klaf and be'eragro. One doesn't have cloth, you can even use a piece of cloth
To wrap it.
to wrap the parchment, the parsha.
You never fold it, you just roll it. It's never folded, is it?
I'm sure if you fold it, it's going to be kosher too. With the evid, you'll probably crack the letters.
Yeah, you crack the letter.
But klav kosher, rotzlomag avodo mi bein b'chayv tmeo, it shouldn't be made from a non-kosher species. Avol b'matlas gam dezu shapet domi. Even the one who says you can't use a non-kosher species, but if you want to use a cloth, if you have no parchment, it's valid. Vayim beis yosef kos tam bedover tekem shu maybe klav tzorch lios davkim namut leficho, because everything in film has to be of a kosher nature. From all the bottom ritzuos be'aragro, in fact, the grog questions this whether you could use a cloth. It has to be cloth. Halachim mishmisinayim lo korach haser oleh posel. If you don't tie the parsha, the parchment with the hair, it's posel. Av shekorach leklaf, nosel likro v'noagin lichro ki yeshom shichro haser al guf parsha. There's a question. So we do it twice on the parsha, then on the outer cloth. Akach yichro klaf lemalo, shom lehepech kach noagin lekayim divrei shneim. Beragrosh dos dino in kapedo esekodem. Makes no difference. Okay, to be continued.
And the shorosh, what they do is they fold it. Because if you roll it, you won't fit in the compartment. So they fold it, but they fold it loosely, so it doesn't have a crease. It looks like a fold. If you look at it, it looks like a fold.
Not sure. I'm not sure if they fold it.
I saw a video of my kid's phone being made. Hopefully it's in the way Moshe's describing it, where it's actually folded and it shows the string on it.
The hair, not the string.
Yeah, right, the hair.
I mean, unless it's very high, tall, it's not going to fit. Yeah.
The narrow, the compartments are narrow, so if you roll it, you won't be able to push it in, because it will be too thick. So what they do is they fold it over, they fold it like a boat.
But you have to fold it from end to beginning. Because the outer part of the parsha.
Right. So you start from the